And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, folks. A great program today. You and I, and this is exciting for me, you and I talk about electric vehicles and self-driving vehicles, and we hear news from time to time, of course, about the breakthroughs. But let's talk a little more about electric vehicles today, because we know that the EV technology is not going away. And many of you, and perhaps even I, thought about this, but automakers are making huge investments. And today, on the line with us is Dan Flores, General Motors Corporate Spokesperson. Dan, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. So proud to have you in the house.
Well, Bobby, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
GM's making a big investment in electric vehicles, specifically trucks and SUVs. Share with our Car Clinic listeners and viewers about this large announcement. Sounds really exciting to me.
Yeah, absolutely, Bobby. So about a week ago, we announced that we're in the process of investing $2.2 billion into our Detroit Hamtramck assembly plant, and that money is going to be used to produce a variety of all-electric trucks and SUVs. So the first vehicle, or the first all-electric vehicle that'll roll off the assembly line at Detroit Hamtramck will be a pickup, and that production is scheduled to begin late next year. So late in 2021, we're going to have all-electric pickups rolling off the assembly line at Detroit Hamtramck. So very excited about it. The investment in Detroit Hamtramck, as well as an investment announcement we made last December, just before Christmas, where GM and our joint venture partner, LG Chem, we're also investing about $2.3 billion to create a battery cell plant in the Lordstown, Ohio area. So, two huge investments, approaching $5 billion between the Detroit Hamtramck vehicle assembly plant investment and the Lordstown battery cell manufacturing operation that we're going to build, with our joint venture partner, LG Chem. So big money, but we're very, very excited about where the technology is going. One thing to point out, although we believe in an all-electric future, we know it's not going to happen overnight. It could be years, or could even be decades before we get to a significant percentage in the marketplace. But we think these products, the trucks, the SUVs, will drive additional excitement for vehicle electrification. GM, and as you indicated, there are other automakers that are investing in the electrification of the automobile, and we're proud of these investments, and we're proud that through these investments we're taking a big step forward in making our vision of an all-electric future a reality, and we're excited and proud of that.
Well, it sounds it's a huge endeavor, and folks, we're talking with Dan Flores, GM Corporate Spokesperson. And, Dan, the more I think about what I hear, and the more I read and hear about the growth of the electrification of automobiles and other fleets, even to the fact of the Cruise origin. I understand that the Detroit plant will build these vehicles and also produce that vehicle, an autonomous vehicle. Give us the overview of the origin as it stands right now and in the future.
Yep, Bobby. Absolutely. So the Cruise Origin is a shared electric self-driving vehicle that was unveiled by Cruise, and Cruise is a subsidiary of General Motors. It was unveiled in San Francisco a couple of weeks ago. So in addition to that pickup that'll roll off the assembly line late next year, late 2021, following that, the Detroit Hamtramck plant will build the Cruise Origin, which again is a shared electric self-driving vehicle. Now, Cruise has not announced specifically when the vehicle is going to be available. So, but you bring up a great point. That not only will this plant build all electric vehicles, the Cruise Origin is an electric autonomous vehicle. So, very excited about where the industry is heading with this technology as well.
So Dan, with regard to EVs, and of course, electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles or self-driving vehicles are one and the same. But how far out do you see, and your associates there at General Motors, are we from seeing mass market adoption and widespread charging infrastructure nationwide?
Bobby, your question is an excellent one because there certainly are challenges now, and those challenges for a broader adoption of electric vehicles include the cost of the technology, the availability of a charging infrastructure. If customers have electric vehicles, they obviously need to be able to charge them. As the infrastructure develops, essentially, as there are more places where customers can charge their vehicles, we think the infrastructure will continue to develop. But beyond the cost issue, beyond the infrastructure issue, there's range. So we are seeing significant advancements in batteries. A few years ago, General Motors unveiled and began building the Chevrolet Bolt EV, and that's an all-electric vehicle that has nearly 250 miles of range. So battery technology is progressing, charging infrastructure is progressing, and the cost of the technology is coming down. And as I mentioned earlier, we know this transformation is not going to happen overnight. That's why it's so important that we have a strong core business. We've launched new full-size pickups. We've launched heavy-duty pickups. We're in the midst now of launching all new full-size SUVs. And yesterday we just revealed the all-new Cadillac Escalade. So while we are focused and committed to an all-electric future, we understand that the way we're going to get there is to have a strong core business. So although we believe in an all-electric future and that future is becoming a little clearer every single day, the internal combustion engine is going to be around for years, if not decades. So, we are making progress on cost. We are making progress on infrastructure, and certainly we're making progress on battery technology, which the range will only continue to increase. So all those customer concerns are being worked on really hard by General Motors and everyone in the industry. So I unfortunately can't put a date on it because there are obviously a bunch of factors. But as I've said, we're committed to an all-electric future. And if you look at these two investments, the Detroit-Hamtramck investment and the Lordstown investment, as you said, these are huge sums of money, and we're these investments are allowing us to take a big step forward in making this vision of an all-electric future a reality. Now, to give you a little more detail, to generate a little more excitement, I mentioned that first pickup that's going to roll off the assembly line at Detroit-Hamtramck next year. It's going to be a Hummer by GMC, and we're really excited about this product. We actually teased it during the Super Bowl. There was an ad with LeBron James, the NBA basketball great.
Right, yes.
So that first pickup truck off the assembly line at Detroit-Hamtramck is going to be a Hummer by GMC, pure EV. And that the vehicle will be revealed in the next coming months. So I think what's going to be really key is as the cost of the technology comes down, as the charging infrastructure improves, as range goes up, in addition to tackling those real customer concerns, if we bring to market exciting, great-looking products, that'll help generate interest in these products and in the technology. So, we're excited about it. We understand it's not going to happen overnight, but we're committed to it, and we're investing in the future, and we're excited about that.
Well, there's no question in my mind that EV market will continue to grow. We've come a long way already in what has been the last 3 to 5 years, but
Yep.
This is we've already said that's a huge step. But when you look at those two plants and you think about, and by the way, the new GMC truck is drop dead gorgeous, and to think of the GMC vehicle and the Hummer, I can't wait to drive one of those vehicles. And the very fact that General Motors will take the Hamtramck plant and make it all EV is putting their money where their mouth is. And as the infrastructure grows, you're right, Dan, certainly when you take away the reasons not to buy the electric vehicle, like, well, there's not a gas station on every corner, then more and more people will see the advantages, not to mention the longevity of the electricity or the electric vehicles and all the good points. I'm 100% on board. So Dan, I want to take this time to to solidify, in my opinion, with my Car Clinic listeners, the fact that EVs are here, and it is exciting for GM to build these plants and to build these new vehicles. Dan Flores, General Motors Corporate Spokesperson. Dan, thank you so much for sharing this information. We'll have to get you back as we progress and get some updates along the way. Thank you so much for joining me on Bobby Likis Car Clinic today.
Well, Bobby, I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk to you and your listeners. So thank you so much.